think I'm getting way too used to that music. It's like sounding good to me. Intro music is like I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah. Play that in the elevator and you can get down. Get busy with it.
Anyway, hey guys, welcome to the Geek Chat. And glad to have you all here. So we're going to talk some geeky shit. I don't know what exactly. I had like two things I wanted to talk about, but I was waiting for Duke's slow ass to get here because I know he had opinions on things. So
when does the new episode of Tales of the Walking Dead come out?
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. I watched his last episode, and like, okay, first of all, it's way better than the previous one with fucking Alpha. Like, I didn't.
Oh God, yes, hands down.
That was fucking god. That should not exist.
No.
The new one was kind of. It felt pointless to me. Like, it wasn't bad, but it felt pointless.
I kind of felt like it was a filler episode, like Alpha.
The only thing I can think of is because there was a bunch of rumors coming out about several of the characters from Tales of the Walking Dead are going to either show up in the final season of Walking Dead or show up in the Rick and Michonne show, or potentially even that Negan and Maggie show where they go to New York. One of those three.
I was going to ask you about that Negan and Maggie show because isn't it rumored that they're supposed to be going to New York for the CRM?
Well, that's what that's what I guessed. I don't know if that's true or not, but my guess is that because if we know that the CRM is based out of New York, and so I'm trying to think, why the fuck would Maggie and Negan go to New York? Maybe it's because they're trying to find Rick or something. I don't fucking know. So that was my guess, was that maybe that's why they're going there. But I don't know for sure. But
I mean, I'm so far behind Walking Dead, I have no idea.
Because I've watched it from the very beginning, and even when it sucked, which it certainly has, especially in the last few seasons. I'm so in
out when it started getting really bad, and it's like
I'm just so invested. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to keep watching. And so I had to fucking just keep watching. And so that's where I'm at. I'm just stuck on it because I'm like, well, I'm gonna see this through to the fucking end. But no, this last episode of Tales from the Walking Dead felt like just an introduction to that guy's character. That's what it felt like to me. Because it really had no other purpose to me. The story wasn't important, really. There was nothing significant that happened in the episode. The only reason for the episode was to figure out who this guy is and introduce him as a character. But if you're just going to have him in one episode, what was the point of that? You know what I mean? Because the story itself was not, I didn't give a shit about his fucking research and shit, or him meeting some random chick that he knew for all of a day or two, maybe?
Yeah.
And even at the end of the show, like, he didn't really give a shit about her. Like, he didn't act like he gave a shit,
No, he just hollered her.
Yeah, so,
introduce character just for a spinoff, or is it just what?
Well, I think it is because we're getting Walking Dead's about to be over here. It starts the last 8 episodes in October, and then they've already announced that we're getting the Negan and Maggie show, which starts next year, and then we're getting at least one season of finding out finally what happened to Rick, and they're I don't know what it's actually going to be called, but everybody's calling it the Rick and Michonne show because they're going to be the two main stars of it.
Did you catch
speculation
up on,
is this guy is gonna show up in one of those spin-off shows.
Yeah, it was up in the air for a long time. It was like a Shane ending for Rick for the longest time.
Yeah,
he lived or died.
Yeah, and as the audience, you know that he's alive because at the very end we see him getting taken off in a helicopter. But obviously, the people on the show don't know he's alive, except for Michonne thinks he's alive, which is why she left to go find him. But
has she been in the show since the island?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, since she left to go find Rick, she has not showed back up. So, which, by the way, bad parenting. She left both her kids behind. I get it. She left them with Daryl, but still. So you know what? I'm going to take off and just in the zombie apocalypse, I'm going to leave my 3-year-old and my 10-year-old behind and just fuck it, whatever. And, sure, I guess. But,
Do you think we'll see the characters from World Beyond in any of the spinoffs?
I
Whether
really fucking hope not. I still haven't gotten to watch that second season. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it because I know it ties into all the Rick stuff with the CRM.
well, not only that,
and
it
everything.
actually, like I said before, it mentions someone that we saw in season 1 of The Walking Dead.
Okay. Well, don't tell me because I'm going to fucking watch it. I've made the decision I'm going to watch it before the new season of Walking Dead starts, which is in October. So I'm going to watch it. It's just that first season sucked so fucking bad.
Yeah,
It
you got
was
to push through it.
fucking horrible that I've just been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because I just, goddamn. And the only reason I'm going to be watching it is because there are ties to other stuff. The show itself. Okay, let me ask you this: taking out the connections to Rick, taking out any mentions to characters from season 1, is it good or is it at the very least better than season 1?
It's a
That's
little
my answer.
better. It's a little better than season 1, but not by much. It just really didn't make a whole lot of sense for as far as what I like as realism, and
Yeah.
it was just more like a filler, I guess, to kind of do a backstory on a few characters and kind of tie it into The Walking Dead a little bit.
Well, actually, right now, I'm sorry to interrupt here. I'm just realizing I completely forgot to send Andrew and Superbad links. That's my bad, guys. I'm going to send that to you right now. I just saw Andrew out there in the chat talking. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot to send the links over on Discord.
If you were to take out the ties to the other shows, to me, I wouldn't have watched it.
Okay, see, because that's the only reason I'm going to watch it, because season 1 sucked so fucking hard. So, yeah. I'm just like, no. But anyway, I don't know. And I still haven't watched the last season of Fear the Walking Dead. So I haven't. So I've got 2, and I want to get both of them watched before the new season of Walking Dead comes out. Because I want to be all caught up when that comes out. So I've got both of those seasons to watch.
Yeah, the Fear of the Walking Dead, was it season 7 that's out? It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a little.
Well, Fear has been consistently really good, and then sometimes just good since Morgan showed up on the show. Since season 4, it has been either good or really good. It's kind of fluctuated a little bit, but I've never disliked it. It's always been a solid episode of television that I've enjoyed and am like glad that I watched, unlike sometimes in Walking Dead and certainly World Beyond, which just is dog shit. So
I agree. There were a couple seasons of Walking Dead that was just meh. And I think they drugged the alpha shit on way too long.
Oh, dude, that storyline was just not necessary. And I mean, the Whisperers, and that was the other thing, is they got way too much into the alpha and her daughter and flashbacks with her and Beta and all this other crap. And the problem is it takes, and there was really, and I've read the comics, there really wasn't any of that. There was some stuff about alpha and Beta, but like they were a dangerous, mysterious enemy that in the end you don't know why they really decided to do what they do or what these people were like or any of this shit, right? And they started stripping some of the mystery out about this like thing. Like when the Whisperers first showed up at the end of whatever season it was, season 11, I guess, or season 10, or when did Rick?
It was 10, I think.
Whatever season that Rick, quote unquote, died in, they showed up towards the end of that season. Yeah. And when they first showed up, they were scary and creepy as fuck, and they were done well. And it was the way they played the show, it was this sense of you don't know who out there is one of them. And every time they ran into walkers, they were trying to figure out what was going on. Like when they first show up and they're in that graveyard and like the walkers are coming towards them. And then all of a sudden one of the walkers like dodges that one guy's sword or machete or whatever he have. And then just like just straight up like shanks him in the gut several times, and the way he moved like a ninja, and it was done really well. But then by the time that was only in the last couple episodes of that season, and then they get into the next season, and the Whispers really just kind of were, man, you're just kind of like whatever. They weren't really anything that I cared about anymore. They kind of took the mystery and freakiness and scariness of what those would be out of it, and it just and it drug on way too long.
I agree.
So,
do you know who the actor is that played Beta?
Yeah, it's a dude from Sons of Anarchy. It's Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Opie, you know you look like Opie, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that show that he did? He did like a season or two. It was, I think, the Outsiders or Outlanders.
I watched the first couple of episodes of that, and it was really good. And I don't know what happened. I think I was watching it week to week, and then something happened, and I like missed a couple episodes, and then I kept forgetting to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, the one where they're like fucking mountain people, and they live up on the mountain outside of that town.
Yeah, and they got their own kind of like language they speak and shit. I thought it was pretty good. I think it got canceled, lack of rating.
The first couple episodes were really good, and then like I said, I don't remember what happened, why I missed it, but yeah, I missed it, and then I kept meaning to go back and rewatch it until you just said that right now. I haven't even thought about that show since like I don't know, fucking COVID, because that show was from like 4 years ago. But yeah, I remember that show. It was good from what I saw of it. But yeah, it was kind of, I mean, it was very Walking Dead-ish, I guess. I don't know. At least it looked like it anyway. Probably shot it in the same fucking town outside of Atlanta.
Probably.
Speak a little bit of Appalachian every now and then.
Oh, there you go. Well, you're from over there, ain't you?
Yeah. Born and raised in Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah. I got a really good friend. He lives in Washington now, who's from West Virginia, like born and raised.
Well, I'm from the good Virginia.
Oh, okay. The good Virginia. The one without all the meth problems. Okay.
Yeah. Without all the meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't promise that.
Well, not as much anyway. There's just a little bit of meth. Not as much as West Virginia.
Any low income rural areas where they try to help the community and get rid of all the coal jobs and.
Oh yeah, that helps, so doesn't it?
That's when or the jobs get shipped overseas and shuts down the town.
Yep.
Meth moves in.
Yep. Bring in the meth. We got rid of the jobs. That's usually how it goes down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you said you had a friend that lives in Washington, but he was West Virginia. He was from West Virginia, and born and raised. I heard that fucking Will Smith theme song from that TV show he had.
Fucking Fresh Prince.
Yeah, Fresh
West
Prince.
Virginia, born and raised. On the meth hills is where I spent most of my days. Like that.
Well, yeah. Back then, probably the Steels.
Still, yeah, there you go. No, I was talking about Yankee, because that's where Yankee's from. It's from fucking West Virginia. But
that's who I thought you were talking about.
How you get the name Yankee and you were from West Virginia?
That's his fucking, well, that's not his real name, obviously, but that's his YouTube channel is Yankee, the Yankee Marshal.
Well, I was just wondering, like, how you get that from growing up in West Virginia, though?
I don't know, honestly. I have no clue, but that's his fucking YouTube channel.
That's fighting words to a lot of Southerners.
Yeah. But yeah, he's from fucking West Virginia, and he lives in, like I said, he lives in Washington, state of Washington now, but yeah, I've heard many, many stories about his fucking hillbilly antics growing up in West Virginia. So now he does call fucking soda pop, even though he's from West Virginia. Is that normal?
West Virginia is actually farther up north, so that you can kind of get the Yankee thing out of it. But like my nephews, they're up in north. They live up in northern West Virginia. And some of their mannerisms, how their speech patterns are Yankee-ish, even though they are still Southern. But
yeah,
and it's very interchangeable between pop and soda and Coke.
Well, down here in Texas, everything's Coke.
Yeah, everything's Coke.
Everything's fucking Coke. Like you go. You say, well, "What do you want to drink?" I want a Coke. What flavor? Dr. Pepper. They go, okay. They know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was Coke down here growing up, but yeah, no, Yankee turns real fucking redneck when he gets mad. Like because if you listen to him on some of his chats when he's like arguing with somebody, and as soon as he starts arguing, his accent like he just fucking goes off, and all that shit from his childhood comes out.
Yeah,
his true colors fly.
It's funny as fuck.
I've gotten a couple of people at restaurants when they ask what do you want to drink. I'll say Pepsi, and they say we have Coke. I say okay, can I get a gram?
Well, there you go. way to make a waiter fucking double take. They're like, what do you mean? Because you know it always takes them a minute because they're in like fucking waiter brain mode.
Yeah. And
then you say that, and they're like, what? And for a split second, they're thinking, is that a soda? Graham? Is Graham a soda? And then you'll fucking finally you'll see the fucking wheels going off, and you're like, oh, that's what it fucking is. And then they always do that kind of laugh where they're like, when really in their head they're going, shut the fuck up and tell me what you want. Like, I ain't got time for your little jokes. They always do that shit.
Yeah.
You do that in my area, they'll tell you, meet me outside after my shift.
Bring the ranch.
Bring the ranch.
Where's the server at?
I don't know. He's probably sleeping. He said he had a morning shift today, and so he usually comes home, smokes weed, and then takes a nap when he gets off of work. So that's probably where he is. I told him he was invited to the chat today, and he's like, oh, we'll see. I'm like, yeah, I know. You're just going to go home, fucking toke on your fucking vape, and pass out until it's time for your show at 10.
Probably.
So that's what's going to fucking happen. Anyway, hey, I know we actually been talking about this off and on. I feel like we've been talking about it for like a while. But I just saw this today. I had to tell my wife about this because we were both huge fans of this show. But check this shit out. I literally just saw the announcement for this morning, and I know, Corey, you've been in here, and Andrew and Superbad, like y'all been in here when we've talked about this, but they're redoing this. Check this shit out.
Really? Is that
Quantum Leap?
Fuck yes, man.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap is coming back.
I just talked about this, yesterday?
Yeah, we were just talking about all this shit.
Fuck yes, man. That was a badass show. I hope they do like we talked about and pick up right off where the original one ended.
I do too. That's
what I would prefer too, but they're calling it a reboot.
Oh, it's a reboot?
They're calling it a reboot. I really hope, like, even if it starts off and it seems like a reboot, that at some point he runs into Sam while going through time, and we realize it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. I really hope so.
Like they sent him in to find Sam?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't even know Sam's out there, right? Like, maybe it's a whole thing, and whoever he is, he got involved in all this and doesn't know anything about there having previously been somebody leaping through time, but at some point Sam just shows up. You know what I mean? Whatever. I just don't want it to be a complete reboot. I want to see Sam again.
They can do it all the Stargate SG-1, where it's kind of continuation, but it's a little soft reboot too.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that because I fucking loved Stargate SG-1. That was one of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time. I thought that they did a fantastic. I even liked how with I'm blanking on the fucking main guy's name, but anyway,
Richard Dean Anderson.
I love how they took his character, because if you watch the first season, his character starts off very much kind of a solemn, serious, grumpy character like he was in the movie. But then over the course of the first season, because of all the stuff that's happening and all the new people and everything, he starts to lighten up, which was a good way to transition from where we started in the movie to where I think Richard Dean Anderson really shined, which was as somebody who had a personality and was funny and that kind of thing, because he did a really good job at that. So I was glad they had that little bit of a transition in the show. So it wasn't so much like, well, this is not the same character. But
I would be interested to see who they're going to find to play Al.
I don't know, because they're I mean, Al's that actor died in real life. I mean, he's been
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
if they did bring back Sam, are they going to bring back what's his name, Scott
Oh,
Bakula?
hell yeah, because he's still acting. I mean, he's still doing shit. Hell yeah, all they got to do is have him do a guest appearance a couple times or whatever. You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome.
Is it NCIS? Was it Louisiana still running?
Yeah, New Orleans or something.
New Orleans.
Is that still on? I mean, I know NCIS shows last for fucking ever, but I've never watched any of them. So
I think they canceled it.
they canceled it. So
Yeah.
I know he was on for long. I mean, fuck, that's the dream right there. If you're an actor, get on a CBS show,
Right?
because you're gonna work for a decade at least. So you're just like set. Those shows fucking last forever. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad shows, but you know, I've never really watched. I mean, I watched the first like long running CBS show I ever watched, which was of this vein, was back in the 90s. I watched Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh yeah, I love Walker.
Too.
And that was at the time they had Walker. I think the two big shows for them were Walker, Texas Ranger, and Jag. And I never watched.
Good.
Yeah,
I never cared for Jag.
I've never watched NCIS. I've never watched CSI. What was the one that was about New York cops? I don't remember that one that had Gary Sinise in it.
Yeah, that was CSI New York.
Oh, CSI New York. Okay.
NCIS ended up being a spinoff from Jag.
Oh, it was?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
I didn't realize
even
that.
know Didn't even know that shit. But yeah, those shows last forever, man. So yeah, I watch. I'll be honest with you. When Walker Texas Ranger first came on for the first couple seasons, I mean, I like Chuck Norris. I grew up with Chuck Norris in the 80s, just like every kid did. But it wasn't really anything that I would make. I never like fucking was like, oh, I got to watch this show. And then I was working at the time. I was working in downtown Dallas, and I worked at one of the big buildings in downtown Dallas. I worked on like the 38th floor, and I went downstairs one day at lunch because we had a deli downstairs in the lobby, and went down there, and they had the whole lobby cornered off, and they were shooting a scene for Walker Texas Ranger in the lobby, and they were taking some sort of break, and Chuck Norris was just down there saying hi to everybody. And I got to shake his hand and say hi. And after that, that's when I like gave a shit about Walker Texas Ranger.
That's fun.
So in
That's
Texas,
awesome.
when you're watching your back, you're watching it for Steers, Queers, and Walker, Texas Ranger,
Walker
right?
Texas Ranger, yes.
The eyes of the Ranger are upon you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Chuck Norris movies was Lone Wolf McQuade. And for me, that still holds up today as being a really good movie.
Yep, that was a good one. That was one of his best ones.
Yep.
Then he got into remember then in the 90s he started doing like action comedy. What did he do that one? Sidekicks. Remember Sidekicks?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that was horrible.
Those.
That was a fucking horrible movie.
It was probably,
Yes, let's-
probably forgot about my brain probably protect itself. Forgot about those things.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was one of those
Let's pour
movies.
some lighter fluid on the bricks, and
Didn't
that'll
he,
make it harder to punch through.
didn't he do one of these shows where it was like he was a cop that had to team up with this fucking dog? Because it was in the wake of Turner and Hooch being really fucking popular.
Yes. Oh, fuck. What was it called?
Oh,
It was something
Like-
dog.
It was like this big ass fucking sheepdog. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of this show. I just remember it was fucking awful. Poor Chuck Norris. Although he's a legend now, so whatever. But still, he had to endure some of that shit. It's kind of like when Stallone did "Stop or My Mom Will Shoot," and you're just like, "Oh God, this is fucking really bad."
oh, speaking of Stallone, Samaritan. Have y'all seen it?
I did. I watched that
Yeah.
last week. I thought it was great.
I did too. I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
it the other day, and I thought it was pretty damn good.
I figured out the twist halfway through, but
Oh, dude, I figured out the twist literally while they were still playing the intro, that animated intro.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, and she's like, "Did you just ruin this movie for me?" I was like, "No, it's not going to ruin it, but I'm just telling you that's who he is." And she goes, "All right, fine." I was like,
Murder Incorporated and Dom's Vibranium Bicep out in the chat say it's Top Dog with Chuck
Top
Norris.
Dog,
and
yes.
Dolph.
Yep.
that's what it was. Oh my God, that movie was fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That movie was so fucking bad. Holy shit. But anyway, yeah, we're going to get some fucking Quantum Leap in like, what's this, about 2 weeks from now? So I'm happy with that. I hope it's good.
Me
I
too.
I
would love to see some kind of connection to the original cast where it's
Yeah.
not Maybe even like have like the person who starts the program up be Al's like daughter or son
Yeah.
or something other.
Yeah. Something. I need some connections there. Even if, you know, it's not going to be big, you know, even though if most of the story is not going to have anything to do with Sam or anything, but I want some connections there. You know, I want them to acknowledge that Sam existed because that's one of my favorite sci-fi shows ever.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're
And-
gonna have to make.
And
some
I've
type
watched
of
it
reference.
recently, and it still holds up. It's still a really good show.
They could even do it subtle too, like they say mention Sam was the one who developed the technology, and not say anything else about him or anything like that until later on.
They can just be like, yeah, it was, Dr. Beckett created this or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and we'll know who they're talking about.
Yeah, I just want them to acknowledge that the original show existed, and I'll be happy.
With the fact that we know that they're redoing Quantum Leap, that actually gives me hope that they could redo Sliders.
Oh yes,
I would love to. I would love to see Sliders happen again. I was a huge fan of. I've got all the Sliders seasons on DVD, and love that show. The last season was horrible. Once all the main cast had left.
Notice in the chat that Eric Yelm 509. I agree with him. The K9 with Jim Belushi was my favorite cop.
Oh, K9 was awesome. I love Jim Belushi. Yeah. I used to watch the shit out of Jim Belushi movies. That one, what was the one? I'm blanking on the name. The one where he got to relive his life if he had made that hit, if he had hit the ball in baseball when he was in high school game.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember what it's called, but I remember it.
And yeah, dude, that was a fucking great movie. Oh shit!
What was that other movie he was in where I think he was a soldier? It was like 1945 or some shit like that. I can't remember. Where he's riding in the fucking tank downtown.
You're talking about his brother. That was 1942.
Oh, that was his brother.
That was his brother. Yeah.
Animal House.
No, it was 1942 or 1940. Is it 1941, 1942?
Oh,
it's something like that.
Yeah, 1942. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Dom's Vibrating Bicep says Mr. Destiny. That's what it was. That movie was Mr. Destiny.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That was a good movie. Oh, by the way, Dom's Vibrating Bicep. You're tongue twisting me there, bro, with your name. Put in super chat says, have you seen the new Pooh Blood and Honey trailer? I have. It looks horrible. Like it looks like it was made for like $150 somewhere. That being said, I'm still going to watch it because the concept is like Christopher Robin like left the 100-acre woods when he was a kid and never came back until he was an adult. And by that time, basically Pooh and everybody else has gone like basically rabid, and now they're fucking serial killer murderers.
So it's like a broke bitch version of what the fuck is that movie about the anarchy where they get to kill once a year?
Oh,
The Purge.
The Purge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. All I know, from the trailer, it shows like Christopher Robin as an adult, you know, like returning to the 100-acre woods with his fiance or something, and he's like, "I want to introduce you to all my friends," and then in the trailer they like immediately get killed, and then all of a sudden it flashes to like some people in like some kids, I say kids, like, you know, late teens, early 20 something at like a cabin in the woods on vacation or some shit, and all of a sudden like Pooh and fucking Eeyore and all of them start coming out and like murdering them one by one like fucking Jason or something. And it looks cheap as fuck, but I'm still gonna watch it because I'm very curious.
Right.
Sometimes the cheap movies are great. I don't know, man.
Like
look at
Velocipaster.
the original, yeah, or like the original Evil Dead was made for like a couple $1,000s, you know, and I love that fucking movie.
Oh hell yeah!
So maybe it'll be like that. I don't know, but I'm gonna watch it. But the trailer was, I mean,
yeah, they had to raise Evil Dead. They had raise money just to make a trailer to try to get other money to actually make the movie.
Yep.
So I don't know if y'all have a Grand Theater near y'all, but they're re-releasing Jaws in IMAX.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm too young to actually have seen it in the movie theaters, so
well,
I'm
I am too.
interested.
I'm just like, I think it came out when I was 1, So
Right.
Jaws.
I've never seen it at the movies. I did see Jaws 3D at the movies, and that was even as a kid, I thought that was fucking awful.
Now that's a really good Jim Belushi movie, like Eric M. 509 mentioned. Red Heat with Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Heat's awesome.
That's like an 80s must-watch like action movie with Schwarzenegger, and
Yeah, I love that one. That was a great one.
the open scene is just so brutal too, with the women getting and the protection team. I won't say anything anybody wants to watch it. I know it's an old movie. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I'll do it. Like, out of all the action stars, if like you had to pick one, and it's like, okay, these are the only action movies I can watch. Like, I think I'm gonna go to fucking Schwarzenegger because I think he's got the best lineup.
He does.
Terminator, Predator.
Terminator,
Commando.
Predator, Commando, Red Heat, like fucking even Last Action Hero gets a lot of shit. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah,
You know,
I never understood the hate for Last Action Hero.
I don't either.
me either.
I think it was just beyond the concept for people at the time. They couldn't get it. That they're going into the fictional world of the movies,
Yeah,
and it's like an alternate universe that actually exists there.
yeah. I mean,
Get
maybe
that.
I had just read too many comics as a kid. I got it right away.
Yeah.
I thought the movie
think
was
it's
great.
like the normies couldn't get it.
Yeah.
The normies, I like that. Rubber
But,
baby
I mean,
buggy bumpers.
nowadays, everybody's watching fucking MCU movies and Multiverse of Madness and all this shit. Nobody bats an eye, but but back then it was like it got a bunch of fucking hate. But that's a good movie. Yeah, I think if I got to go with one, like I'd have to go with him just because I think he's got the best slate of movies.
What was the other one? Raw Deal.
Raw Deal was
Jingle all
great.
the way.
Yeah. He's got a lot of good ones. I mean, Stallone had a bunch of good movies too. Van Damme, I think, did pretty good. I like. There was a point in his career where he was like at the top, where you had Hard Target and Time Cop and shit like that, where it's like that was like peak Van Damme.
He was
before-
also a martial artist. He wasn't just a bodybuilder.
yeah.
So, and you could see that through his movies. He just wasn't that great of an actor, I don't think.
No, he wasn't. But for an action star, I didn't really give a shit. But like that was his peak where he was like the best.
Yeah,
of the best. But then
struggle through the thing very
like,
where English is not his primary language.
yeah. But then he started doing like Street Fighter and shit like that. And it just got bad.
Maximum
and then-
Risk.
What was that one he did with what's his fuck?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, yeah. What that movie was so bad.
I don't remember what it's called, but
I
yeah,
can't remember the name of that fucking movie. That movie was horrible.
it was double something, wasn't it?
No, because Double Impact was a different one where he played twins.
Okay.
Which was a ripoff of Twin Dragons from the
Yeah.
80s. That
I
was
remember that one too.
Jackie Chan, which is the better of those two movies. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, would I rather, if I could only watch one action star, would it be Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jackie Chan? I fucking love Jackie Chan movies.
Mhm.
Rumble in the Bronx is one of my favorite action movies.
I was getting ready to say the same movie.
Yeah,
Fucking
he
love that
fucked himself up on that film, that show, though. He broke his
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
foot, but kept on acting with the fake
Yeah.
shoe over it.
That was because, like, okay, so he was the first person to do that stuff at the end of the movie to show the behind the scenes stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, that blew me the fuck away. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And
Modern era, like doing stunts wise, I didn't realize how much badass Jeremy Hawkeye, Jeremy, what's his name?
Jeremy Renner,
Renner. Yep.
And that movie Tag.
yeah,
that
where he
scene-
broke his arm.
Yeah,
He broke both of them.
arms.
Broke his arm. Yeah,
Then reshot the scene before he went to the hospital.
yeah.
The tape they used in the movie, he had 2 broken arms.
I really like Jeremy Renner. My favorite Bourne movie is Bourne Legacy.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie. It got so much fucking hate because it wasn't Matt Damon's, Jason
I
Bourne.
like the movie.
I thought it was the best one. That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
And I that's one of those movies I just fucking can watch over and over again. Every time I'm bored, it's like, what do I want to watch? Oh, fuck it. I'll just put on Bourne Legacy.
Did y'all watch the interview where he's talking about how he broke his arms and he went to the bathroom and had to have help pulling up his pants because both his arms were broke?
Yeah. Oh,
That's why you have a bidet.
mhm. Hey, whatever works, man. But yeah,
He seems like a good down to earth actor too.
yeah, he does. Dude, I even like. Have you heard his music?
I have not.
Yeah.
He actually does. I like his music. I've listened to a couple of his albums.
I love that interview with he's sitting there with Brie Larson. You can tell he can't stand her.
Yeah,
And she's
No
talking
one
about.
could.
I think we should have a responsibility to use our celebrity to do this and this and this to force our views on. Then he goes like, I don't think we should do that with our celebrityism. I just like to help people.
yeah. Oh man. Oh no. And that Hawkeye series with him in it was fucking great. I loved that show. That and
It was
Loki
probably
were the two standouts for me. Like, WandaVision was cool just in that it was like, I don't know. It was very comic booky, weird shit going on, all this kind of stuff. I know a lot of people didn't like it because of that, but I thought it was cool because it reminded me of the old comic books. And I thought Moon Knight was solid. Not great, but solid. Falcon and Winter Soldier, it introduced some cool stuff in there. I liked John Walker, surprisingly. I didn't think I was going to like Wyatt Russell as John Walker because I'm like, this dude's supposed to look like fucking John Cena.
Yep.
But then he did such a good job. He was by far the best part of that show. But the rest of the show was fucking boring.
Yeah, for years, it's like, man, when they do introduce John Walker into the MCU, they need to get John Cena.
Yeah,
he's all to look like John Cena.
Yeah, and now that we've seen John Cena a bunch of shit, and he actually, he's not like the greatest actor or anything, but he's pretty damn good, and he's funny as fuck.
Yep.
Like he's got good comedic timing. Like he would have done a great job. But that being said, I do like Wyatt Russell, because I've seen him in several things that I liked him, and I thought he did a really good job playing John Walker as a more realistic version or whatever. I was fine with him, but the rest of the show, man, honestly, just kind of bored the shit out of me. Like that show just didn't do anything for me at all.
The entire premise of the show was just idiotic.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It was a useless story. I mean, it was what, 6 hour-long episodes. I mean, you could have told that story easily in like an hour 45 movie, and it probably would have been way better. But they stretched the shit out of that, and I was like, fuck, whatever.
And they had to work in the two, like the racist cops didn't recognize the Falcon, one of the most famous people on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an Avenger.
But oh no, we don't recognize him. But all right, whatever. Yeah. And then Miss Marvel was just a fucking Disney kids show. That's all that
I
was.
didn't even bother with it because it looked like.
Yeah, I watched it because of my daughter, and my daughter wanted to watch it, and she loved it, and that's cool because it was made for. She's 13. It was made for 13-year-old girls. That's what that show was made for. Mm-hmm. It was not made for me. There's no way in hell. So I watched it.
My biggest gripe was all the partition ports of it. Like, we understand, move on.
Straight episodes of shit, over there in Pakistan. I'm like, okay, are you playing this in Pakistan for some? Like, because most people here don't give a shit about that stuff. And yeah, it was boring. Those two episodes were fucking boring. Like, nothing significant was happening. She learns a little bit about her family and her past, and that's it. I'm like, you could have knocked this out in half an episode without going all the way to Pakistan or whatever, and kept the show, tighter and the pace better. But again, whatever. I mean, the whole time I felt like I was watching one of those fucking Disney shows. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It appeals to teenage girls. I'm like, whatever. So it's fine. But
I saw something funny today. It's like the end credit scene of the newest She-Hulk. Has everybody seen that?
The twerking shit? Yeah.
The people who don't read comics was trying to justify that by showing a picture of She-Hulk jumping rope naked.
Yeah.
Because they never read the comics, they don't understand. She wasn't naked. She was wearing a 2-piece swimsuit.
Yeah.
And they just drew it like it's blurred, and she's jumping. It's like the people were like, oh, clapping, like, oh, this is so smart. It's like, see these people complaining don't read the comics. No, you don't read the comics.
No.
She wasn't naked.
The whole, I'll tell you what, the whole fucking, I think it started off like both sides. It started off in a good place on one side and a bad place on the other, and now both sides are just fucking have lost their goddamn minds with all this woke shit.
Yeah.
Like at first it was just too much crap being put into stuff that it didn't need to be in, and it wasn't even like it was adding to the experience. It was taking away from characters and storylines and things like that. And then
Like that scene in She-Hulk.
yeah, and then it's just got progressively worse. Well, I'll get back to the She-Hulk thing in a second because that's what I want to say. It's just got progressively worse from that side. But then the other side has gotten to the point to where they're so burned on everything being so woke that now people who've never read comic books, because I know several of them, are just bitching about stuff because they think it's woke, but it was actually stuff from the comics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, both of y'all need to calm the fuck down. Like, either just enjoy something because it's good or not. You know what I mean? Like the She-Hulk thing at the end of the last episode, like it was stupid. I didn't really give a fuck. I mean, it wasn't any more stupid than at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy when fucking Star-Lord's dancing around. Like, I was like,
Thing is,
whatever.
it was only like a 2-second cut. It was an end scene, so it wasn't like it.
It didn't
It wasn't like it added anything to it, and it's not
didn't
like
add
it
anything
took
to
anything
it.
away from it that much.
The
It
one
was
thing
just-
I hated more than anything from the last episode, what they did to the Wrecking Crew.
Oh yeah, that was fucking stupid. I didn't even realize that's who that was till he's like, "Hey, Thunderball," and I was like, "God damn it, is that who
and
that's supposed to fucking be?"
And did they race swap Thunderball to a white guy?
Oh no!
They
and-
had him wearing a
and-
full mask.
Not
but-
only that, but it was a white guy wearing blackface. Technically,
Yeah, he's wearing a black mask.
but
The Wrecker is the one who's supposed to wear the mask.
yeah,
Full mask. Whereas Thunderball, Thunderball does wear like a half mask with his hair sticking out.
for a split second, what thing is when they pulled out all their weapons, for a split second, I was like, wait a minute. And then, the fight was going and done, and I was like, okay, that's obviously not supposed to be the Wrecking Crew. That's fine, whatever. It just was some little thing dropped in. And then he called him Thunderball. I was like, God damn it, it was fucking them. Why the fuck?
And they made a joke. So, "Would you steal mug a Asgardian construction worker?" And they went, "Yeah."
Yeah. Fucking stupid. But whatever. I mean,
Ruined the Wrecking Crew just for a setup to like they were trying to steal her blood sample.
yeah. And it like they could have. I don't know. There's 100 other ways they could have done that. It just didn't have to be the Wrecking Crew.
Yep.
Like it could have been anybody. It could, it could have been the people that the Wrecking Crew, I don't know, then went and stole some weapons from or some shit. It could have been anything, and they decided to make it that. But I do like what the show's done with Abomination.
Origin, because they get their weapons from Loki in the comics.
Yeah. I do like what they've done with Abomination, just because, and I'm blanking on his name, that actor.
Was it Tim Roth?
Tim Roth, yeah. Like, he's legitimately, I really like him and stuff. And I like that he can do really serious and he's really funny. And I thought he was playing that role perfectly as just kind of like, I don't give a fuck. I love when he was just like, oh, let me show you. And he just like strips down naked and fucking turns into the Abomination and shit. Like, I just like Tim Roth. And I like
And then
Tim
they were
Roth.
all like freaking out at that scene.
Yeah.
It's like, he's contained, y'all. Like,
Yeah.
there's
No,
no
I'm just
reason for
glad-
you to get.
I'm glad they brought him back because I actually like that Incredible Hulk movie. It's not great, but I like it. And I like it a lot because of him, because he was a great, antagonist in the movie. And so I'm glad they brought him back for Abomination. Because, when Abomination showed up in Shang-Chi, like, he was, we didn't really see Tim Roth, right? Like, it's just the CGI character. So there was no way to know whether or not it was going to be him.
We just saw Wang and Abomination rigging a
What?
fight.
We saw Wang. Did we see Wang?
We saw Wang.
Abomination's Wang.
Excuse me,
Wang.
Wong. His name's Wong. I thought it was Wang.
Uh-huh. Was that a Freudian slip there?
It was a Freudian slip because of of all the penises you've been showing Honda.
Yeah. You got Wang on your mind? There?
Yeah, I got Wang on my mind. There we go.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
Hey, I'm part
It's a
Asian. I can
long
make
way.
Asian jokes all day long.
you're
It's fine.
part Asian now. What are you talking about, Jolly? I thought you were Italian.
Yeah,
How are you part Asian?
my grandmother was Filipino.
So she was Mexican, is what you're saying.
No, Filipino. No, my great uncle's Mexican.
She's basically Mexican. Look, Filipinos are basically Mexican. Okay,
It's
let's
a
be
cross
honest
between
here.
Asian. It's a cross between Asian and Spanish.
It's
Actually,
Spanish. I know. Yes, I know. I'm well aware. I yes.
Well, weren't Mexicans all like originally Asian to begin with until they migrated
No.
over?
All
Well, no,
Mexicans
it's just- it's just-
they're a cross between Native American and Spaniards.
Spanish. It's
Right,
basically
but the
Spanish
Native
went
Americans
around-
were Asian to begin with because they came from Asia across the land bridge.
Maybe if they were Inuit, but not South American Native Americans.
Wasn't
Well,
there
they
a-
still had to migrate over. They migrated from North America all the way down to South
Uh-huh.
America.
Well, so there's some speculation they migrated across the Pacific.
I think there was actually like genetic findings too that there's a connection
Yeah.
between Asia
Yeah.
and Native Americans.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Dookie Doo's here. God damn it, Dookie Doo.
What's
49 minutes late.
We was swimming in the pool.
There
man,
he
my
is.
bad.
I've been holding off talking about the main point of this chat tonight. Wait for you to get your ass in here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
God
Matt-
damn.
Matt even texted me if I was gonna be there, and I told him I'd be late. So you know,
I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm sorry.
I at
Nitro
least
told me he's going to
had
be
noticed.
late, yet he was here before you.
I'm
I know.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Motherfucker. The only excuse is if you got caught up painting that fucking Warhammer thing.
That is true. I was not doing that. I was in the pool with the kids, so
Fine.
my bad.
Well, you're here now, so we'll talk about this. The point of tonight's chat, not the point, but one of the main topics for tonight's chat I wanted to go over was Game of Thrones versus Lord of the Rings in the context of both new shows.
That's not even fair.
Yeah, that's apples and
That's-
oranges to me.
No, that's not even like the
I have
same.
to ask- I
It's
haven't.
not a
s-
fair fight, okay? It's
No.
not. I know, but that's what we're going to talk about here.
Oh boy, maybe I should
You'll-
leave because I haven't seen either of them yet, and I've already heard from Duke that Lord of the Rings is like hot trash.
Yeah,
It's not
I mean,
hot trash. It's fine.
Go ahead and leave, man. It's. I mean, if you don't want
We're
to
not-
hear, it's
I'm not going to give any
worthless.
spoilers away, but
Yeah.
like,
I mean, Did they try to turn Lord of the Rings?
Okay,
into,
okay. Hold on. Let's start here. Let's start here. I think me and Duke can agree, and Corey, I know you might not with the second episode, but me and Duke would agree. Fucking House of the Dragon's been great.
Yeah,
First two episodes been really fucking good. I know Corey, you said the second episode was slow for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was just, I don't know. I feel like it was maybe a filler to me. I don't know. Like I said, the best part for me was when Rhaenyra actually flew to her uncle and, puffed her chest out and got the egg back.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was great. I mean, we get a progression of the story. We've passed 6 months since the last episode, which is great because it means we're not staying stagnant. We're looking at larger storytelling than just an episodic, oh, this happened this day and this happened this day. It's telling a general story, which is a good sign because it means they have a larger plan. So that was great. I mean, we're seeing a whole new show. We have all kinds of freedom and liberty because we have plot points of this character was alive at this time, maybe, and this character gave birth to this character. So that's about it on that. We know that the Baratheons betray the Targaryens eventually, but we have an open playing field. And I mean, we have about 172 years to play with. So I thought it was awesome.
I've loved the first two episodes.
Yeah.
I even like that, like the quote unquote bad guy so far, Daemon, is still incredibly likable as a character.
Well, that's what's going to be good about this is I don't think that this is going to be a setup for it's like Troy. Both sides have points of that you could put yourself in, and you kind of are rooting for both ends of on the spectrum. I could see the king is not making smart decisions.
No, he's not.
He's marrying his the Hand's daughter when he should be going after maybe no one at this point, but if the other one would be at least a better ally to him, the guy with the boats, his daughter with the boats would be in a sense a better choice, but I mean, I don't know. It's all creepy anyways because they're all a little young.
It's like a 12-year-old girl. Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I really wish they would avoid that. I think it really kind of ruins it for me. I'm almost kind of tuned out with some of it, but it is.
I get it from the perspective of those are the types of things that would have happened in that situation, given the culture and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Again, and like when people only live to be 36. So, but yeah, I guess there's a difference, and I guess they did throw the part in there about it would be a few years till other things happened, which was. Still, I guess I don't know, but
still creepy as fuck.
Still creepy. I don't like any of it. So I mean, but overall the story is cool. I think we got some good setup for the Crab King.
That looks cool.
I did enjoy the Crab King parts. I think that guy's going to be creepy. He's nailing people to shipwrecks and letting the crabs eat them alive. Yeah, I don't know how much more bad guy you can get. But you wanna compare this? I mean, what do you want to talk about? Lord of the Rings? Because that's not even that was atrocious. That was a train wreck.
Yeah. So let me give you my opinion on Lord of the Rings real quick, and then Duke will let you
go ahead.
Pound upon it. My opinion of Lord of the Rings was the first episode was fucking boring as shit. For anybody that hasn't read all the fucking books outside of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, you don't know what the fuck is going on in this boring shit show of an hour-long episode. Because it was all set up for things that the only thing at any point, like I knew who the main chick was, right? I knew who Elrond was. Okay, I know those two characters, right? But I don't understand what all is going on in the show. I'm bored, on top of that, I'm fucking bored. And then at the end, it was like, oh, there's Gandalf. Like, that was it. Like,
motherfucker, that was not goddamn Gandalf.
Okay, whatever. I don't know. I'm just telling you from somebody who's never read any of that shit. I know that Gandalf fell from the fucking sky from that heaven or whatever the fuck that place is.
There's three things that makes me say he's not Gandalf. Three. Not one, not two, but three.
Okay, whatever. I don't care, but okay.
While he was thinking in his head, you heard the evil whispering, that shit going on.
Uh-huh.
When he touched the fucking fireflies, they died.
Okay.
And at the very end of the first episode, after he crashes into the ground, you see a view of the crash site from above that looks exactly like an eye.
I don't think Gandalf is that old.
So you're saying
Gandalf
it's Sauron?
Gandalf is that world's version of a fucking angel.
Right, but he's an angel. He's still younger than the elves.
Yeah, but this is only a couple.
He doesn't age, period. So who knows if he showed up to Earth looking already the way he did in Lord of the Rings stuff?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he just is the age he is.
I'm just saying I don't.
So you may be right. I don't know. I don't know enough about any of this shit. I'm just telling you what I saw. And I saw all this shit that bored the shit out of me. And then stuff that I didn't know why people were doing things they were doing. And then it ended with a guy that looked like Gandalf crashing to Earth, which I know Gandalf did. It's one of the few things I know about, the Silmarillion or whatever the fuck that thing's called that I've never read.
Yeah.
And, I know a little bit about Gandalf and his history. And then the episode was fucking over. And then we get into the second episode. Now, the second episode, I can say was better than the first. But that's not really saying much. Like, I walked away from watching these two episodes. And yes, more happened in the second episode. The story seemed to be progressing. And there was more action. But in the end, I walked away from this going, I don't really give a shit about anything I've just watched.
Okay, so how do you rate the first Lord of the Rings movie, The Fellowship of the Rings, versus, say, Game of Thrones, the first series?
Not even in the same category.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Exactly. So how can you compare this new series to the new Game of Thrones series?
No, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring beats Game of Thrones any day, in my opinion.
No,
not for me.
That's okay. I'm just saying. I'm giving you the context of your question posed to the group. I'm telling you that you have the source material unlike any other. if you fail to capture a Lord of the Rings fan, which I am and love, you failed to capture me in 2 episodes. There's no what you have done an injustice upon the source material. You're showing me hobbits that look ridiculous, that are dwelling inside of bushes, and there's like,
well, they're not hobbits. They're they're halflings. They're not
Yes,
hobbits yet.
I
They
get that they're
become
close.
hobbits eventually.
I get that, but there's no drawing me in. Of course, there's inquisitive hobbits again, because you can't have anything other than inquisitive halflings or hobbits. My concern is that you showed huge battles in which nothing happened. You have a 30-second clip in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring that showed the War of Sauron, which was better than what we saw in this whole thing, and this is 20 years later.
I agree.
So if you can't show me Sauron, you show me a back picture of the coolest character in Lord of the Rings in armor, and you show me about 100 feet away from him, and that's supposed to scare me, invoke some kind of emotion. None of this is forgivable. None of this is. It was ridiculous. You have Gilgalad, however you want to pronounce him, the guy who's in charge of Elrod. That guy is literally the best fighter in all the elves. His scenes were cut out of the Fellowship of the Ring. I don't know why, but he had some pretty awesome fighting scenes in the Fellowship of the Ring that was cut before Sauron killed him. That guy is in there. I don't even get to see him fight. He was a part of these wars that lasted centuries. Come on. They got to do some really good stuff in the next couple episodes to bring me back, which
Okay,
I'm not
I will say
looking
this,
forward.
because there was, leading up to me watching the first 2 episodes, there was a lot of negative hype, let's say, right? I heard a lot of people saying a lot of things about how this sucked and that was terrible and this got cucked and Gandalf is gay or whatever. I don't know what everyone said, right? So I had a lot of preconceived notions about what to expect whilst watching this movie, TV show. And I gotta say, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I thought it was okay. Is it like the best show ever that's ever happened? No, it's not. Is Galadriel like kind of like a Mary Sue character? Yeah, she kind of is, but it also makes sense in a way, right?
I gotta agree with Honda.
I liked it.
I was
liked it
expecting
better.
dog shit, and it's not dog shit.
It's not. It's not bad.
I was expecting dog shit, and I got meh. That's what I got out of it. I didn't hate it, primarily because I think I have outside of the movies, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I never read any of the other books and all the other stuff, right? So I was just kind of like, meh. Like, I certainly was like, oh, well, this has definitely been better than some of the worst episodes of Walking Dead. But is that saying much?
We've waited 20 years, Matt. We've waited 20 years for more Lord of the Rings. Now we get The Hobbit, but
which was better than Lord of the Rings.
I disagree.
Here we go. Here we go.
Disagree hard.
There's no comparison. That was all green screen versus practical effects mixed in with good CGI. Come on, man, that's way better. And Lord of the Rings is
you're
way
a
better
green
story.
screen, motherfucker.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. The Hobbit they did after was really just a cash grab.
Well, I liked The Hobbit. I liked the story. It was good. I
liked the original story of The Hobbit, but the way they did that. What did they have a small budget?
No, it's just
all I'm saying is I like Bilbo after seeing those movies way more than I ever liked Frodo.
I get it. I agree. That's cool. And I'm a big fan of dwarves.
He just walks around getting fucked by everything the entire time. Everywhere he goes, like, and then like orcs come in and hit him from behind or whatever.
You have to realize though that The Hobbit was one single book, whereas Lord of the Rings was like a trilogy.
All right, I have the definitive and correct opinion on the Hobbit movies.
Of course you do.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
It is the definitive and correct opinion to have on the Hobbit movies.
Here we go.
And that they're pretty fucking good, and they're very enjoyable, but it should have been 2 movies instead of 3.
Yes.
That is the definitive opinion. I rewatched that trilogy after giving them shit for many, many, many years, as you know, Honda. And I realized they are far better than I originally thought, especially that third movie. That third movie is awesome, and I think Short of, I mean, I would put it at a strong number 3 in all 6 of the Lord of the Ring movies. Sometimes even maybe a tied for number 2, depending on my mood. I think Return of the King is the best one. I know everybody bitches about all the endings and that's too long and all that.
No, it is. It's the best
I
one.
still fucking love that movie. That's still my favorite one, hands down. Return of the King is my favorite one. And then depending on what mood I'm in, my number 2 is either going to be The Two Towers or the third Hobbit movie. That's those kind of get tied up for me for number 2.
Right.
And I think the first Hobbit movie is fucking great.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I like it better than I like fucking Fellowship of the Ring. I know, Duke, you're going to get mad at me for that, but I do. I find it a more enjoyable movie, than that. Now, the second one, the second Hobbit movie, I just think didn't need to exist. Most of that movie was shit that wasn't from the book, and it was a stretched out story of the whole mountain and the dragon and all that shit. You could have taken 30 minutes out of that movie and fit that into the other 2 movies and made it just a sequel, a part 1, part 2, and that trilogy would have, I think, benefited from that because there's just so much in that
dragged out. It was. I'll agree. And then the extended versions are even longer. But I mean, I don't know. You got good source material. The Hobbit's good stuff. I mean, I listen. The 70s version, the cartoon.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
I love that too.
That's something you put on. I'll listen to it, like not watch it, but like have it playing. Like
right,
if I'm cleaning or something.
Just listen to it in the background.
And I will say, I think taking that 1 2-hour movie based on the source material and making it 2 2-hour movies, that there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. And I think all of that's great about that book is in those 3 movies. I just think it got stretched out too much to make it 3 movies when it should have been 2. That's my opinion on the Hobbit movies. So, I think they're good movies. I think they're fun movies. I think they're enjoyable movies. There are a couple of those movies that I like better than Fellowship of the Ring. I like 1 and 3 better than I like Fellowship of the Ring. It's not the Fellowship of the Ring is bad. It's just out of the 6, it's my number 5. It's the slowest one. It's out of the trilogy, and it's a good movie. It's a great fucking movie. But like, if I'm picking out the movies that got the most fun and excitement and adventure and all that shit.
Agreed. I get that. I get it. There's different modes for each one. I just think that we're dealing with source material that is so rich and amazing and fun, and you've got all these stories to tell. You pick this one, and again, I think it's just going to suffer from like endgame fatigue. Why again are we choosing to tell a story that's so grandioso when we're going to have a hard time competing with what's already been grand? They should have picked a much smaller story to do and to have fun with and to enjoy than doing these big, huge, grand stories again about these like end game type situations. Pick a battle, pick one war.
If they did like a bridge between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, because there's like a 70-year or whatever gap.
That would have been much more enjoyable than going ages and ages beyond, where we've already established lore. We know pretty much what happens. I think we could have done this on a smaller scale, like, again, picking a band of warriors, picking something to follow, to do with, and to stay away from these huge, grandioso Sauron returns for the 3rd time.
I got questions about this show. Okay, two major things that I want to know about, and you guys tell me. It was going to be 3, but Duke or Honda already said that's not fucking Gandalf. So whatever, maybe that's that question answered. I don't know. But the other 2 are the things that were going through my head. Okay, first of all, the sword, the broken sword. Now, the only broken sword I remember from Lord of the Rings is the one that the king used to cut off the rings from Sauron's hand.
Yeah, that's not this.
But this apparently is a different sword because it's sucking that kid's blood and fucking all this shit.
Do you remember the sword that the Wraith guy stabbed Frodo with in the first movie?
Yeah,
it was a marble blade.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
Okay. Well, because it was a broken sword, so the first thing my mind went to is the other broken sword, and so that was question 1. 2, and this isn't necessarily a question, but I'm just wondering if this is what happened. my guess was, with the whole orcs and the little villages and all this shit, was that is the area that is going to become Mordor. Like, that's why they're digging all the tunnels and killing all the villagers and doing all the stuff. That is the orcs prepping basically what will become Mordor. Anybody?
I
have
don't know,
any
because like
opinions on that?
I've looked at the history of like what happened in the first and second age, and it's been a little bit since I've like looked at it, so I'm a little unclear as to when this is supposed to happen.
This
But at
is the
some point, the kings of the main king, what's his name in Return of the King?
Theoden, Aragon.
Aragon. So Aragon's like lineage comes from this one city that like helped the elves and fought against Sauron and did all these things, and then like they turned against, or they tried to sail across the sea or some shit like that, and they were like, fuck no. The elves were like, you can't do that, and then sunk like a whole bunch of land under the ocean. I don't know if this is before they sunk all the land or after it.
I think this is after that, because we're not even at the age of men yet. This is still the age where the elves are running everything. The men haven't even come about, I think, in a stronger way. Like, so then this is before the War of the Ring.
Okay, that's another question I had.
Yeah, this is way before that.
So they were talking about, her, and I forget his name, but her brother that died fighting Sauron, right? Now, I thought, maybe I'm mistaken, that was during the War for the Rings when he died. No, it wasn't? Okay.
No.
That was my question, because Elrond is fucking with that other guy talking about building the great forge and furnace and shit with the help of... I'm like, well, I thought that was what built the rings.
That's what builds the rings.
Okay.
This is
now I have better
So
understanding.
that was the battle that Morgoth, which is Sauron's boss. Right?
Yeah, that's the Morgoth.
And Morgoth is basically like this world's version of the devil, and then whoever created and sent Gandalf and the other wizards down to Earth is like that world's version of fucking God, right? Because it's Morgoth and whatever that other being is.
Well,
that
Ilúvatar and Numenor, whatever the fuck his name is, the god is like God, right?
Yeah.
And then he created all of the angels. One of them was Morgoth, right? Like the devil. And then there were a bunch of other angels. And then below them are the Maiar, which are the fucking wizards.
Oh, okay. So they're another
level below. Yeah.
Okay. Again, it's been a long time since and I don't know nearly as much about it as a lot of people do. But so then what's the speculation? If that's not Gandalf, then is that Sauron? But we already know. So I mean, would Sauron come back as some old man, or is that somebody else?
I don't know. I don't know who it is. I think it might be Sauron, but that's basically just because of that overhead view where it looks like the eye of Sauron, and he's at the middle. Like, that's what made. I don't remember. I thought fucking Gandalf sailed across the ocean to get here. I didn't think he fucking landed like a fucking.
I don't know. I just remember seeing once, or maybe I watched a YouTube video on the history of Gandalf or something like that, where it talked about how it was, Gandalf came from wherever that god was and was sent down to Earth.
The five wizards were. It's Gandalf, Sauron, Radagast, Saruman, and then there's another one I can't. There's two more, I think. I think there's 6. Anyways, there's a couple more that don't get talked about. But Radagast the Brown, Gandalf the Gray, Sauron the White, and then there's a couple
and the two blue wizards. I've quite forgotten their names.
There, exactly. There you go. So I just why are we in this? Why did we choose this? I'm telling you, the average viewer is going to have a hard time chewing this up and eating it and figuring out what's going on. And
I think it's going to be like the corruption of the main people, like Galadriel and Elrond. They eventually get corrupted by power, right? And then they turn. They're not evil or anything, but they seek higher power through the 7 rings or 9 rings.
Well, hold on. Speaking of Galadriel, right? Like, so this is one of the complaints I heard in having not read any deeper history on it outside of the movies or anything. Maybe Duke or whoever, I don't know, can answer this. One of the complaints I heard about Galadriel is they're making her basically in this show like this kind of vengeful, driven fucking, whatever she's supposed to be in this, whereas she's supposed to be much more altruistic of a character, and like she does all the things she does because she wants to help everybody, not because she's driven by vengeance and all.
No,
this
she's
shit.
driven in the books by power. She wants more power. And that's what eventually led to her not being accepted into the Undying Lands, and why she had to prove herself worthy. And that's why you see that in Lord of the Rings, when Frodo offers her the ring and she like resists it and says like, now I can return to the Undying. That's what that's all about. And in this
but at first she
series,
goes like
they're
that, right?
trying to say like, oh, well, the reason you got banished from the Undying Lands is because we offered you to go there and you jumped off the boat. And I don't know if that's in the. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's in the books.
None of this is in the books. That's what we have to remember. They were told they couldn't do anything. So this is all. Nothing of this is from the books. This has got to be like its own thing, and it's got to be on its own path.
Just for record, you guys were talking about Morgoth earlier. Remember, Sauron was one of his lieutenants.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, my evaluation out of 10 of the first 2 episodes, if I'm to join them together into one, which is how they were meant to be watched, which is why they released them both at the same time. If I'm just rating these one at a time, it's going to go weird. But if I rate both of them as one like 2-hour opening to this series, out of 10, I give it like a 4.5. Like, there was some interesting stuff in there. I won't lie. There's stuff in there that I'm curious to see how things play out. There was characters in there that seemed interesting. But in general, I spent most of the time trying to figure out what the fuck was going on because nothing is spelled out. And I felt like I went into this thinking maybe if I had read the books, I would actually know what the fuck is going on, because right now I'm watching it and I'm lost. I don't know what time frame this takes place in. They didn't really fucking say.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. Like I know some of these characters. I know who Elrond is. I know who Galadriel is. Obviously, I know who Sauron is. But I don't like recognize them as characters from what I've seen. Like, just going into it, having only watched the movies, I was confused and bored in the first part, and then the second part made up for it a little bit, but I don't know. I was, again,
that's unacceptable.
4.5 out of 10.
That's unacceptable. That's my point. My point is that you're talking about most people are like you, Matt, and who have just going off the movies. And if you're confused and not hooked, that's unacceptable. We're talking about Lord of the Rings here.
I think you guys.
I almost would have rather have seen it open from the point that Galadriel was a little girl still and went through at least the first half of the episode being her brother's battle against Sauron. And in the second half of that episode, we see her older now seeking revenge.
Give me a fight.
Give me some awesome fantasy action in the first part of that episode.
Like
where we get to actually see all this shit happen, so that we understand why she's become the person she is, instead of getting literally, like, I want to say 3 minutes worth of flashbacks, none of which was really of any battles other than when you see him getting swamped by orcs. But you don't see anything significant. You don't see Sauron. You don't, like, it was
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. When you, in Fellowship of the Ring, it opened up with the elves standing there in droves, and their buddies were shooting arrows in between them. That's how good they were. So it was established. These are some awesome freaking fighters. Okay. And then they just took on hordes of orcs. And then it showed them fighting Sauron and getting beasted by him. That was a cool scene. And that was about, 45 seconds long. So that we didn't even get any of that. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. I will say, to Duke's point, for me coming in, and you guys know, I'm very forgiving of things that I watch. and I'm willing to stick around when, just to see how things play out. I fucking love Battleship, okay?
I do too.
I went into that, and this show, the first episode, did not do anything for me. It was only because there was a second episode to immediately be able to watch that was better that I would not have made it to the second episode had I only seen the first. Had I only seen the first and had to wait a week to get the second episode, I probably would not watch it.
I accidentally watched the second episode first.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm like, why does this not make sense? And then I'm like, oh, because this is the second. Okay.
It's not like the movies. You can't do that.
Yeah, I Quentin Tarantino the shit.
There you go.
I did that with
I'm not being
Good, Bad,
biased.
Ugly.
I don't want to contribute. I just have not watched either of them, so I don't.
I mean, honestly, if somebody were to come to me right now and be like, "Look, I only got time to watch one of these. Which is it going to be?" Oh, hell, the fucking
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones by far. It's so much better. I mean, we're only 2 episodes into both, and it wouldn't have taken 1 episode. I could do 1 episode of Game of Thrones versus 2 episodes of Rings of Power, and I'm like, fuck Rings of Power. Like, if you can only watch one, watch House of the Dragon, hands down.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a Lord of the Rings channel who can give me like some good background. It's been a long time since I dove into a lot of this. Maybe that'll help. I want to like this. I don't want to be this bitter about it because
I do too.
I want to like it, but I'm not gonna like lie to myself like I did with Star Wars and be like, "Oh, this is so good" for so many years, like trying to stick with it.
Whoa! The original Star Wars was good.
No, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
I mean,
Disney
I would
Star
even
Wars.
say I'll give the prequels a pass, but the sequel shit that they did, no.
Well, now let's not get into Star Wars because that can last a really fucking long time. But
Yes, and then I'd have to do the Yoda voice, and then it's like, then we get into the conversation of you yelling at me. It's like, nice strike. I've known you 2 years. How come you haven't done the Yoda voice? And then it's like,
that's true.
I think there's 4 good Star Wars movies.
only 4?
Yep.
I would say Attack of the Clones wasn't that bad.
I'd say there's 8.
I'd say there's 4 good ones.
Well, yeah,
there's 3 that are fucking, or no, there's 4 that are god awful. So it's 4 that are good, 4 that are god awful, and then 1 that's okay.
Here's my thing. I think there are 6 that are great, and there are 2 that are decent and still enjoyable, and then there are 3 that are just dog shit. So the 3 to me that are dog shit are Just
go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I'm not going to do all that shit. But anyway, the ones that are dog shit are the last
7, 8,
2
9.
of the new trilogy. 8 and 9 fucking suck. Okay. And then Phantom Menace fucking sucks. I'm sorry. It had great music. It had 1 great fight scene at the very end. Other than that movie sucks. To this day, it fucking sucks.
And there's 1 more
It's
that
not
sucks.
good. And then I will say the 2 that I think are okay, that are at least watchable, are The Force Awakens. I think that first one of the new trilogy is watchable. Granted, it's all nostalgia. It's basically a retelling of A New Hope, but at least it was enjoyable to watch, even though I knew I was just watching basically them remake the first Star Wars movie. But it was still enjoyable. Had Han Solo in it, even though he did die and all that shit. But I can still look at it and go, okay, well, at least I enjoyed watching that movie. And the other one that I enjoyed watching, but I will not say is a great movie, is the Solo. Solo is not a great movie. It's okay, but I still enjoy watching it.
No, actually, that one sucks ass when I think about it. The one that I was thinking of that's okay is crap. What is it?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Thank you.
Fuck you. Rogue One is great. Rogue One is the second best Star Wars movie ever. Rogue One is fucking awesome.
Okay, well,
Right
since
after
we're
Empire
on
Strikes-
that, what is the first best Star Wars movie?
Well, Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, good. As
course,
long as we got that established. As long as you say
Strikes Back-
Empire.
Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie, one of the best, if not the best sci-fi movie ever, period, hands down. It's fucking amazing. Rogue One is so fucking good
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think Rogue One would be as good without all that we had gotten from Star Wars. If you just watched that movie and knew nothing about Star Wars, you'd be like, okay, it's a cool
What the fuck is
sci-fi
going
movie.
on?
But other than that, taking in all of Star Wars, Rogue One was fucking great. Then after that, you get Return of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope. Those are all the good movies.
Well, I mean,
almost like
relatively. I mean, as I said, I liked Attack of the Clones because Yoda opened a can of whoop ass, but I didn't like the fact that Jar Jar technically started the Empire.
Okay, well, that's just part of the story. You can
I
just
know
make part of the story, but that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
I
just
know.
like Jar Jar too, but that doesn't make it a bad movie. The only thing that made that movie a bad movie was the fucking dialogue between Anakin and Padme, which was fucking horrendous.
Right.
It should have been cut out of the fucking movie. Like, they should have just done all that. They should have completely cut the dialogue and just left in the scenes where it shows them like visiting the different planets and sitting together in a field, so that we just got the understanding that they were falling in love, but we didn't have to actually need to hear what the fuck they were saying, because what they were saying was fucking horrible.
True or not, I saw thing. The lines that George Lucas left in the movie, "I don't like sand," and then there was a nice piece of dialogue between Kenobi and Padme.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
He always knew that they were together, and they were in love. Anakin loved her from the day they met on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
He just chose to ignore it because it made Anakin happy.
Yeah, and they cut that from the movie, but left in, "I hate sand." Like, really, dude? What the fuck?
Well, I'm not fond of it either.
So, but no, in general, I will say if you take out the love scene dialogue from Attack of the Clones, the rest of that movie's fucking great.
You know what,
I really do like the rest of that movie.
Get the sand out of your vagina.
Yes. Remove the sand, Anakin. But anyway, I love Rogue One. I unapologetically love Rogue One. I think that's a great fucking movie.
I do too.
Okay, the question is though, did you have time to watch the greatest movie of our time?
No, you just asked me this last night. No, I have not watched.
You had since last night. I don't know.
I've been busy today doing.
Okay. According to Honda, what is the greatest movie of our time?
The greatest movie of our time is Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Okay.
With Dolph Lundgren and fucking goddamn, what's his name? Brandon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the biggest damn cock I've ever seen.
Tia Carrera. Come on.
I figured Honda would say the fucking Nicolas Cage 9/11 movie.
Oh, I've never seen that. Is that any good, or does it suck as bad as the trailers made it look?
No.
I've never watched that. And I love me some Nicolas Cage. I watch almost everything Nick Cage has done.
Wait, Nick Cage made a 9/11 movie?
Yeah, where he was the pilot of the flight. Was it Flight?
No, he was the fucking Port Authority cop.
Yeah.
I thought he did one where he was a pilot, and maybe I'm mixing another movie he did.
No, he did that. It was that Left Behind movie where he's the pilot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That Left
he did
Behind.
9/11, but he
was
did
the pilot.
9/11 movie, but that was where he was the cop and he got trapped.
Okay. See, I'm mixing up Nick Cage movies. So, okay.
The only thing I remember him being on a plane was that one with when he's a prisoner on a plane.
Con Air, you mean? One of the greatest action movies from the 90s?
Con Air,
yeah.
Yes.
Get it straight. Con Air, motherfucker.
All right.
Fucking great movie right there.
Another one of his good movies was called The Rock.
The Rock is fucking awesome.
Yep, damn good movie.
So.
The Rock is amazing, but it shall not be topped by the greatest 90s movie, period. One of the greatest action movies of all time, and certainly Nick Cage's best movie ever, which is, of course, Face Off. One of the great cinema classics of all fucking time. Anybody who doesn't agree can go fuck themselves. Because that movie is fucking amazing.
I've
heard this rumor.
I saw that movie back in the day, and I was like, this movie is over the top. This movie is ridiculous. This movie is way too fast-paced. I don't understand a lot of things going. And then you fast forward to like 2020 and you rewatch it and you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like us that's changed or what, but
I'm more forgiving.
I just fucking love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I can watch Face Off 100 fucking times a day. I goddamn love that movie. So
I gotta highlight
8 millimeter.
There you go.
Sam of Anarchy's, this is Showdown in Little Tokyo is fucking excellent. Thank you, Sam.
Excellent.
I never said it wasn't. I just said I haven't watched it in a really long time, and now I'm constantly getting shit because I haven't watched it yet.
It is done to perfection. There are things about that movie that will never be done better in any movie.
What, like
you have to watch it. I don't know.
I'm just imagining there's never been another dong shot quite like
that one.
Quite like that one.
You know how I know you're gay, Matt? Because you watched that whole movie and that's the only part of your movie.
Because that's the best line in the fucking movie. It's the only thing. It is legitimately the only memorable line from that fucking movie. When Brandon Lee looks at Dolph Lundgren and goes, "That's the biggest cock I've ever seen." Like, come on, man. Like, how the fuck can you forget that shit?
Oh, shit.
Exactly. It's like the pan ultimate. You can't. It's like the a pit, like the apex of whatever it is you're trying to talk about, right?
Yes, it is.
You can't do any more than that. Like Jesus went to the extreme. No one can do more than Jesus did in that arena. This is the Jesus of fucking kung fu movies.
Okay. Is it a kung fu movie, really? Like, I mean, I know Brandon Lee.
I would classify it as a kung fu movie. Yes.
Okay. I remember Dolph Lundgren punching a lot of people and shooting a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Lee was doing all the kung fu.
Oh, the best part is like how it ends. Like after they just murder like 70 fucking Yakuza people or whatever it is, right? Like they just murder all these people on the streets of LA. And then they just, that's it. No tribunal, no arrest for them, no ramifications, no store owners suing the city, nothing. It just ends and they're happy.
So is that what I'm trying not to get political here, but is that what police think all cops are like now? Is just those two guys from that fucking movie and just go around and murder everybody?
Get it done, man. Judge Dredd style.
Anyway.
My Italian buddy from up in Canada, he's watching the show. He's like, The Godfather's the best.
Here's the thing. So my wife thinks The Godfather, the first two movies anyway, is the greatest thing ever, period, hands down. She grew up watching them. I never really got into them.
Me either.
I didn't either.
I've watched them, and I acknowledge they are very good movies. They're just not my thing.
Like,
for whatever reason.
It might make my buddy unhappy, but I never got into them either.
Yeah, I mean, I acknowledge they're good movies. I like the movies. I've watched them. I enjoy them, but like it was just never really my thing. The gangster movie thing was never. I was never really big into it. I was way more into sci-fi and fantasy and shit like that. And honestly, the first movie that was almost like a gangster movie that I saw, and to this day, again, one of my favorite movies, was in 96. Was it 96? I can't remember. Heat. I saw Heat at the movie theaters, and I went,
that was a fucking great movie.
Holy shit, this is awesome.
That was a fucking great movie.
I fucking love that goddamn movie.
Eric, 509 is like Goodfellas greater than Godfather. I love that long shot when they're going into the restaurant through the back. That's like one of the best one-take shots in a movie.
Yeah, the Coca Cabana.
Yep.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Goodfellas is way better than Godfather, but Godfather is the quintessential. So yeah, I disagree. I love gangster movies. So, but I get it.
Yeah, so you're probably like my wife. Like she grew up with them and watched them all the time. So yeah, and I just didn't.
And I get it.
I just never got into them as much as other people did.
It's a dead genre now. I mean, when you talk about trying to do like they try to recapture it with Irishman, I liked it, but that wasn't received very well. That's a. I mean, you're talking about stuff that was glorified in the 50s, but by the 60s, that stuff is dead. The mob's dead. There's no real mob anymore. And anything.
I think there was a resurgence when Sopranos was on. I think there was a little resurgence of interest in that stuff, and because of that, we got movies. Which is another one I think is fucking fantastic. Is The Departed.
Right.
Fucking love that movie. That's fucking great.
But the true identity and like the idea of that being in any like form of reality is dead. Like
because we don't live in that world anymore. Yeah,
and also, and very importantly, fuck Robert De Niro. in the ass with a red hot iron poker.
I don't think that's enough.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm not.
Immediately
I'm not
after
a fan
that, you
of
got
it.
to shove a pineapple up there.
That's okay. Well, we're not going to get into politics or anything like that.
That's
Robert De Niro.
I-
Robert De Niro has done himself no favors by speaking publicly about his personal beliefs and things in the last few years, because I went from being a very big Robert De Niro fan because of movies like Heat and a bunch of others, to being like, I just don't want to watch him anymore. Like, I'm just.
Well, I try to separate my politics sometimes because I would
do
agree with
too.
you.
Like,
'cause it's
I
hard.
don't, and I don't give a shit what your politics are. I don't want to fucking know about. You're an actor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
if you were a politician, then I would expect to hear your opinions on everything all the time. But when you're like, it's one thing to know that people in movies have certain political beliefs. It's another when they go around preaching it every time they fucking get a microphone in front of their fucking face. I'm just like, dude. Like, I intentionally go to the movies to get away from that bullshit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He did do a great job in the Joker movie, getting blown away.
He did a fantastic job in the Joker movie. The Joker movie is fucking awesome, by the way. I love that movie.
Oh, that's so good. Like,
I'm looking forward to. They're doing part 2.
That's what they should be producing. That's the quality I expect out of source material from DC, because that's memorable, that's enjoyable, that's how it should. That was good stuff. Hopefully that turns into canon.
I hope so. I would love to see, because when you watch the movie, it looks like it might be set like in the 1980s or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's an older movie. I would love to see that somehow get worked into the Robert Pattinson, the Batman movie, because they've already said they're going to do more movies with him. They're going to keep that franchise going.
So
It will
he's gonna
be
be Batman.
separate from the other DC movie stuff that they're going to be doing, but that it will be its own thing of Batman movies. And like, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker would be a great Joker for that version of the Batman. And I thought, because I really liked the Batman movie, I thought when it came out, I thought it was very well done. It was a great detective story.
It was Batman. It was like the adoration of Batman. That's Batman that I remember, is the whole being a detective and figuring things out and being very fringy. Like that's our Batman.
And I really like that movie. I don't think that movie and that version of Batman would fit in very well with like other superheroes and shit. So I'm fine with it just being its own thing. But I would say the same thing about the Joker movie, right? I don't think that version of the Joker movie was phenomenal. I think that version of the Joker works well with like the larger superhero world. So if you put those two together and did a movie where that version of Batman was having to try and, take on that version of Joker, that'd be fucking great.
Totally agree on that. Those are a good matchup between those two.
Yeah.
So with the Flash movie continuing, do you think that we're going to get Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton eventually?
I hope so. But there have been rumors that due to everything going on at Warner Brothers right now, that, and again, we don't know for sure, but that Ben Affleck was actually like called in to help add to. We know he was added into Waterworld, Aquaman 2. We know he was added to Aquaman 2. That originally Michael Keaton was in Aquaman 2, and they went, well, look, because of all this stuff going on, and because Aquaman 2 is going to come out before the Flash movie, it's not going to make sense why Michael Keaton's version of Batman is going to be in Aquaman, because if the Flash movie hasn't happened yet, which is supposedly what explains how we're getting back that Michael Keaton version of Batman, we have to replace the scenes that had Michael Keaton in it with Ben Affleck, because he's the version of Batman that Aquaman knows if Flashpoint hasn't happened yet. So we know he's reshot stuff for that. There are rumors Ben Affleck might have been called in to do some reshoots on the Flash movie too. So to what capacity, to what end, I don't know. I've been waiting since 1992 to get more Michael Keaton Batman. I so want Michael Keaton to come back, and he is the perfect person to put in place as Bruce Wayne to not only get that version of Batman back, who I will always love, but also to usher forward into a Batman Beyond scenario so we can get Terry McGinnis as Batman and we get old man Bruce. It is the perfect setup. I want it to happen. I hope that's what they were planning, and I hope that's one of the things they haven't decided to change, because I really want that. I think that would work out perfectly.
I say this as someone who is a big Flash fan. Like, I've always liked Flash, as like in the comics. I like the Flash TV series that they did, all that stuff. I will not be watching this movie. I will not pay a penny to anybody for any merchandise or anything having to do with it because of the actor and what he is accused of and all of that stuff.
Here's the thing. Let me explain. And I was talking to a bunch of people about this already. So, a couple things. One, the Flash movie is already made. They might be doing some reshoots, but it's already made. It's already done. It has gotten the highest ratings of any DC movie ever in its screenings. It is supposed to be a fucking phenomenal movie. And so that's one. Two, it has already been leaked out of Warner Brothers that they will never work with Ezra Miller again, that the only reason this movie is going forward is A, because it is so good, and B, is because it is already made, and it lays the groundwork for everything they want to do with these movies in the future. But they have already said, it's already been leaked out, he will be replaced. The next time you see Flash after this movie, it will be a different actor playing the part. That's B. And C, Ezra Miller already got paid millions of dollars to do this. If you do or don't go see the movie, he still got paid. He had a contract. It's already been confirmed. He made the movie. He even went in and did reshoots, which he was scheduled to do back in June. He has been paid. No matter what you do, whether you see this movie or not, that motherfucker got paid millions of dollars to do what he already did. Period. End of story. So if the point is to punish him, you're not.
So what you're saying is if this movie makes $1 billion that he won't make anymore?
He gets nothing.
Okay,
Yes.
I feel
And
better.
it's going to be free on HBO, and you can pirate it too if you want.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have to wait a little bit because it's going to the movies first, but yes. And
Well, let's be honest, I don't pay for movies anyway. So
yeah, I know. But and the other thing is, for people that wanted to like punish WB for hiring him, well, WB already came in and hired that new whatever this fucking name is, and he cleared house, and he was very vocal about basically fuck Ezra Miller. Like, he's coming in and changing things, and he's the one doing something about Ezra Miller, and he's not hiding shit under the rug and sweeping this dude away. He's like, no, we're getting rid of him. He's not going to be a part of the promotion of this fucking movie. Nothing. So WB is now under control of people who are trying to fix the problem. Ezra Miller's not getting any more money. He's never going to play Flash again. So if people don't go see this movie, it does nothing but punish the company who's trying to fix things.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
I think they should get the TV series Barry Allen Flash to do the movies.
Yeah,
I like him.
He was great.
I like him a lot, but I don't know that he'd do well in a movie.
How about the old? You talking about the old one from the '90s?
No,
the new one.
Flash that came
Oh,
out.
okay. You remember the one from the '90s, though, right?
Oh, I loved the one from the '90s, dude. It was only one season, but I loved the shit out of that.
The new Flash, his father is the actor that played the '90s one.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, it was the same guy.
Yeah.
And he also played Flash in the one of the alternate.
Yeah, in one of the alternate realities. Yeah, so they did even better that way, and that's why I like that Flash. You know.
Well, I thought that was a cool show back in the day. That was fun.
Yeah, the
to watch.
90s series was just so ahead of its time, and CBS is what reason why it got canceled. They would not leave the show in one time slot, and it kept moving it from day to day. And if anything happens, like a ball game or anything, that was a show that got bumped.
Yep.
It drove me crazy back in the days of these things called VCRs. For the people that's too young for that, you actually have to know the date and time when your show comes on, and they wouldn't leave it alone.
Well,
and that was the other thing too, because in my opinion, it came out at the perfect time. If they would have left it alone, because Lois and Clark was on its second season and was doing great. Lois and Clark was doing great numbers. It was coming on Sunday nights and was doing phenomenal. And like, it was the perfect time to have a Flash show on TV because people were interested in that shit.
And that's considering if you're one of those geniuses that could actually program your VCR correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that the one with Dean Cain as
yes.
Superman?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, dude, that show is so fucking campy, but I love it. Dude, I've got the
Flash really had Tim Burton, the Batman feel to it.
It did, yeah, it really did. It was like
Yeah.
dark but goofy.
Oh, and
And-
Mark Hamill as the trickster was.
Oh yeah, I was so glad when they brought Mark Hamill back on the new CW Flash as like the father of the current trickster.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was cool too.
That was
yeah.
cool.
You ever go back and watch one of those really old VHSs, and then it's got the commercials in it
Oh yeah,
from like 25, 35 years ago, whatever.
Best or the
That's
anti-drug?
almost as interesting as watching the show now to me. You know,
The anti-drug Hulk Hogan ones and the exercise ones from Arnold are the best.
yeah.
it's amazing how cheap shit was. Like,
Yeah.
oh, for
Dude.
59 cents, you get like a week's worth of cleaning stuff or whatever.
Dude, there are whole channels on YouTube dedicated to playing like commercials from the 80s, like the commercials that would come on between Saturday morning cartoons. And there have been many a time I have fallen down that rabbit hole of watching old like fucking Captain Crunch commercials and Oreo commercials and shit. And the video starts with whatever the show is and thanks for watching blah blah blah. We'll be right back. And it'll play like the whole like fucking 4-minute block of commercials. And then the video ends with it like the intro back into the whatever cartoon Saturday morning cartoon was.
Yeah.
And I will watch the shit out of those fucking things just to watch old school commercials. The commercials in the 80s were fucking great.
Oh,
Like-
Geek Fusion, you got a super chat.
Oh shit, yeah. Tara, what's up, Tara? Tara says my son Cameron wants to build a cafe racer Bruce Wayne ride or rides. Oh, he wants to build the cafe racer that Bruce Wayne rides. Yeah, from the Batman movie. That bike was fucking sweet. It says looks like Harley forks and a BMW motor on a stretched trellis frame with clip-ons.
It's a
Maybe I don't know. That
Maybe,
fucking bike he had was fucking badass though.
It's a Norton.
Yeah.
You can buy Nortons. They make them. Well, they don't make them anymore, but they used to make them.
But it was like modified for that movie though, right?
Well, they
He had
made
two
a
bikes.
specific
He had,
one
like,
called the
Batman
Norton
and
Black
Batman.
Knight, but they only made like 150 of them or something. Like that was one of their earlier bikes.
So Tara, tell your son to buy a Norton.
Is this the one?
Let's
I
see.
can't tell.
Why is it? Oh, let me make it big.
Make
here.
it
That
big.
would help. Yeah, that looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, is that the one? Is that the McFarlane one, or is that one you made?
This is the McFarlane one.
Yeah. That's the McFarlane one. That's the toy for the figures.
Yeah, the Amazon just recently had it for like $10.99.
I know. I missed that. I was gonna fucking buy one because I've got that Pattinson Batman. I've got the McFarlane Batman, and I wanted to get his bike. And I had seen on some of the Facebook pages I'm a part of that it was on sale. By the time I fucking got there, it wasn't. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it sold out fast.
Yeah.
But it's a great looking bike. They put a lot of weathering on it, make it look like it's.
He did a good job, man. I'll tell you what, McFarlane is one of those companies that infuriates the shit out of me sometimes because they do such a goddamn good job 90% of the time. And then it's that 10% where I don't know whether it's fucked up ankles or some weird shit or side eye or whatever the fuck it is. You're just
Side-eye
like,
drives me nuts.
you're just like, come on, goddammit. Like, they have the potential to be the best action figure company in the world. Hands down.
Another thing that drives me crazy, I was talking to a buddy of mine with he doesn't care to make new molds for Batman left and right. But he's only got a handful for Superman. He just like kit bashes them together.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing too. Can we please look? I get Batman is incredibly popular, and I get that Todd McFarlane likes Batman. But for the love of all that is holy, can you please, instead of putting a new Batman in every wave you put out there, can I at least get like I don't know a comic Joker or I don't know a actual legitimate real accurate like normal comic book Wonder Woman, or how about a Hal Jordan that's not just a redo of John Stewart that sucks, because that Hal Jordan that came in that 2-pack fucking sucks.
Yep.
Like what the fuck?
We don't have the core 7 Justice League members
No.
in their iconic looks.
No, we don't, and it drives me up the fucking wall. Anyway, at least they're doing good on their Warhammer shit. That's my favorite. That's my current favorite line of action figures is the Warhammer shit is fucking amazing.
They could make them all like speeding bullets. Like he called it Batman speeding bullets, but the story was actually Superman speeding bullets.
Mm-hmm.
But that figure, one of the best ones he's made.
Oh yeah, I love that one. It's a simple, basic figure, but it's exactly like it should be.
Okay,
that figure's great.
Eduardo, he's asking about set eyes. Like he paints his figures looking left or right.
Yeah, they're always like looking off to the side instead of looking straight forward. Their fucking pupils are pointed off to the fucking side, and it looks stupid.
And they're always basically you got to have somebody positioned to the side all the time if you're interacting.
Oh god damn it, Matt! I just checked Craigslist. That bike's already gone.
I told you. Yeah. I told you when you showed me last night. I said, I bet you that bike's fucking gone.
That's too bad.
But you were going to say something, dude?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You have the opportunity to be one superhero in the DC universe. You can't be Superman because that's just overpowered.
Green Lantern.
So who are you going to be? I want everybody to say.
I pick Green Lantern, hands down.
Let's see.
I'd be the Flash, but not a pedophile.
Deathstroke.
The Spectre. Spectre's fucking sweet.
Yeah. Either
I'd be Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Being rich and being like super intelligent.
Well, hold up. That's also Bruce Wayne's superpower.
It is. That's true.
They're basically like a yin and yang. You'd almost think they should be the mortal villains.
They should. Yeah. They really should.
Well, except when you realize that Bruce Wayne is really a psychotic serial killer who stops himself from killing, but actually gets off on the fact that he knows that the people he throws into Arkham are going to get out and kill more people, and he refuses to actually stop them for good because he realistically in the back of his head, that's how he satiates his need to see dead people, is by allowing others to continue to do it. So he shows up and actually instigates and helps create new villains that will go out and do the things that he stops himself from doing because he wants to pretend he's the good guy, but really he's fucking psychotic and he's a nut job, because if he really wanted to help Gotham, being the richest man in the DC universe, there are so many other things he could do other than spending billions of dollars on gadgets in his fucking cars.
So I guess I won't say Batman then?
Yeah, don't say Batman. Batman's a fucking psycho.
My buddy of mine's in the chat, and he said Lobo. I want to change my vote to Lobo.
Lobo's fucking awesome. I love Lobo.
Drinking, shooting, hitting
can't
bars,
die,
looking up women, immortal,
yeah. By the way, that I got that McFarlane figure. When did I get it? About 3 weeks ago. Damn, that thing is nice.
Matt, I'm gonna piss you off. I'm gonna say it.
What?
I'm gonna say Batman Beyond.
Fuck you. Oh, Batman Beyond. Terry McGinnis is cool.
Yeah, I'd want to be.
Cool.
I'd want to be Terry McGinnis personally. So
yeah, Terry McGinnis is cool. I like Terry McGinnis.
Just because of that suit. That suit is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and he's also a better character. He's a more moral character than Bruce Wayne is. He actually legitimately is trying to help Gotham in the only way he knows how.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but again, he's also got the backing of the Batman.
True. Yes, he does. He does.
So.
The suit makes so much more sense too. It's that's one thing I never understood with Batman in his own universe makes more sense than when he's interacting in the main DC universe.
Yeah.
There's technology to build Iron Man suits in DC too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And later on,
fighting in spandex when you can have a Iron Man suit.
If you remember the Batman versus Superman movie, the animated one they did back in the 90s, okay? Batman had a super suit.
Wear it all the time.
Well, he doesn't wear it all the time, but he had a mechanical super suit similar to what Lex Luthor wears all the damn time.
By the way, can we all agree that the animated DC movies are way better than any live action stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Batman Beyond and the animated series, anybody watch Justice League Unlimited?
Yes.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a episode focused on Batman Beyond.
Where we found out that Terry McGinnis was.
Yeah, where Amanda Waller's shows up. Yeah.
We found out Terry McGinnis was actually Bruce Wayne's son.
Well, not son per se.
Genetically altered, yes.
Yeah, he genetically altered him to
Yeah.
No, I love that show. The Justice League, and so there was Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, and Justice League Unlimited, which I count as the same show because really one was just
it was just a continuation.
And my favorite was the Justice League / Justice League Unlimited. I think that was the best of those 3 animated shows. I love Batman the animated series just like everybody did. I love the Superman animated series, but I think Justice League was way better.
Right.
About 2 of those.
I worry about fatigue. I worry about we're getting so much superhero stuff. And it seems to me that sometimes when they go on these grandioso, like universe changing events, that it's a potential to then not reach that point again and to peak. Do you think that's the case, or do you think
yes, which is exactly why we need more Ant-Man movies? And what I mean by that is, remember the first Ant-Man was a fantastic movie, and that story in Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie, was not some big world-ending catastrophe.
It
was a fun, simple story that got you excited about some characters, showed you this person that could show up in other things when there were world-ending, devastating things happening, but you got those smaller stories like with that, which was great. Ant-Man was fucking a great movie.
To me, that's what Shang-Chi should have been, a smaller scale movie without having like the fate of the world on Shang-Chi.
I mean, look, I really like Shang-Chi. I thought it was a good movie. And I look forward to more of him. But yeah, that whole, the other universe, alternate dimension, whatever the fuck it was, and they were going to invade and all this stuff. It was a little much for a first movie with him in it. Like, especially because how do you top that in a sequel? You know what I mean?
They've done like the story from the comics where he worked with MI6 as a secret agent to help take down the crime organization his father was the head of.
Yeah.
They could have a street level type character.
It was funnier that his father was actually the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to see, like small scale stuff. When we go on these grandiose adventures, you're not. I mean, how are you going to top Endgame? It's going to be a long time. And
I thought it was hilarious. They had the guy who played the Mandarin in Iron Man. He was still alive. He was just in the Mandarin's dungeon. That was hilarious.
Oh, and he's coming back too. He's going to be in.
I heard.
Is it Secret Wars?
Yeah, I think
Secret
so.
War. I think he's going to show back up.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great fucking job. You know what I would love to see?
Trevor.
What I would love to see
Trevor.
is Trevor get a hold of the fucking ring somehow and actually then become the Mandarin. Because I thought he played that fucking great. I want to see Trevor become a bad guy. Because first of all, I like that actor. And I think like having him do something. Oh, by the way, while I'm thinking of it.
I don't want to see him a bad guy. I just want to see him have some sort of ability other than just acting.
Well, yeah, I just think it'd be cool because first of all, blanking on his name, Ben
Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley is a fantastic actor, first of all, and does great in everything he's in. So I would just love to see him see Trevor become a bigger character in the Marvel universe. But while I'm thinking of it, and I talked to Duke about this the other day, it's been confirmed that this person is in talks with Marvel, and it has been leaked that this person is in talks with Marvel specifically to play Kylo Ren, and that's play Kylo Ren, play Doctor Doom, and that's what's his face, Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, putting the Star Wars movies aside, Adam Driver's a great fucking actor.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think he would fucking kill it as Doctor Doom.
Well, they have him keep his mask on though.
Yes. Now I'm fine if although depending on which direction they go with the Fantastic Four, if we're going to kind of jump into the middle of it, where Doctor Doom's already Doctor Doom, but I don't mind if you get some like flashbacks or something where we see Victor Von Doom, what he looks like or whatever. But yeah, when he's Doctor Doom, I don't want the mask to come off. So
I'm fine with going back. If they want to, but the only way that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four work is that if they were erased from the universe and they're brought back.
Yes.
I don't want to start out everything. That's going to take way too long.
Oh, absolutely.
I want everything to just come together.
Yeah.
Then you can go off and do a side movie where we get a backstory on Doctor Doom. And didn't he have some Nazi tie-ins too?
No, not Doctor Doom.
No.
Okay. I want to see all these.
And I think you're right because we've talked about this before. They have the perfect groundwork laid. you know, we've already seen, well, we haven't seen, but the reports that came out of Comic-Con about that Ant-Man trailer where Kang says, you know, or where Ant-Man tells Kang, you know, I'm an Avenger. And he goes, oh, you're an Avenger? Have I killed you yet? You know, you've got the perfect groundwork laid to where we can just say that Kang went back in time and erased the Fantastic Four and the X-Men because they were his greatest enemies.
Yeah.
And it will be defeating Kang that allows the timeline to be corrected. And now all of a sudden the Fantastic Four are here again and the X-Men are here again. And we don't have to do origin stories on them because they're just here. They're back. Everybody already knows the fucking history. Even people who've never read a fucking comic know what happened to the Fantastic Four and know about the X-Men. Everybody does. It's pop culture now.
It's
so
like
you don't need to do histories on them.
It's like to try and do another Spider-Man origin. There's no need.
Yeah, there's no need to do it. Yeah.
That's my point.
You use Kang, you use that. You can just say that he went back, and you can even say, hey, it was because he went back and erased the Fantastic Four and erased the X-Men that the current MCU, like characters like Nick Fury, felt the need to create an Avengers because there was nobody there helping to defend the Earth. And so then you have explained why the Earth is in the situation it is now, which is there was no Fantastic Four, and why they had to create the Avengers. You bring back the Fantastic Four, you bring back the X-Men, and you don't have to do origin stories on any of them. All we've got to do is get through the Kang storyline, or this new phase, which is, you know, what are they calling it? The multiverse phase 5 or whatever, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. They called it something at Comic-Con that had the word multiverse in it that had to do with Kang Wars, multiverse, or some shit like that. And by the end of that story, the timeline has been restored. We still got all the Avengers, but now we've got Fantastic Four and X-Men too, and everything's set, and we're good, and we move forward, and we don't have to tell any fucking origin stories, and it's just there. You know? Yep. It's the perfect answer. So I hope that's what they're going to do. There was enough hints at Comic-Con that's kind of what they were going to do. And I know we're getting, what is it, 2 weeks? We're getting D23, which is Disney's fucking basically their own version of Comic-Con. And all the speculation is saying they're announcing the Fantastic Four cast and director and a date for that movie.
Hell yeah.
At D23. So I'm looking forward to that because again, and I love the X-Men. I've always loved the X-Men. I grew up in the Chris Claremont age of X-Men. I for the most part liked most of the movies. There's 3 or 4 of them that are kind of shitty, but I mean most of the X-Men movies I've always enjoyed. Love the X-Men, right? But before we go jumping into MCU X-Men, I want to have the Fantastic Four established because they are Marvel's first family. They, to me, are more important than the X-Men for the core of Marvel. Yeah, Wolverine's cool and all, okay, but I want to get the Fantastic Four in and established and a cornerstone of the Marvel Universe, especially now that we don't have Iron Man or Captain America around anymore. You need those fucking characters to help, cement the fucking universe again. And then start bringing the X-Men in or something. But they need to establish the Fantastic Four first because we had 18 years of fucking X-Men movies. We don't need to jump right back into it immediately. It's okay. We can calm down. Just, drop little hints about mutants and stuff here and there. I'm fine with that. But get Fantastic Four locked down. That's what I want to see. So
didn't Fantastic Four predate like Spider-Man?
Well, no, they all premiered in the same year, 1962.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was 62, right? 62? Was it 62 or 63?
I'm not quite sure.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Incredible Hulk. I mean, they all premiered within, I don't think it was within the same month, but all very close together in the same year when Marvel Comics became Marvel Comics from, what was Marvel Comics called before Marvel? I'm blanking.
Fantastic Four #1, November 1961.
61. Oh shit. Okay, I was off. But no, before Marvel became Marvel, they were called something else, and I'm blanking on what they were called. But but all those comics premiered within a very relatively short period of time that year. So I don't know which one came first. I don't know if it was Fantastic Four or
Timely Comics.
Timely. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Yes.
And
Before
then
Marvel was Marvel.
and then it was Magazine Management, and then it was Marvel.
Yep. So
I like how Marvel retconned their entire existence, saying they were like, when it's like, no, you have characters that's 80 years old, but not Marvel Comics.
No.
Yeah.
Although we're getting close, we're what 60 years in now at this point. Yeah. So, but yeah, no.
It's because Namor came out in 80 years ago with Captain America. They want to say, oh, well, we're part of that. It's like when Disney tried to retcon, say, in real life, saying Jack Kirby is a artist for Disney. He never worked for Disney.
No, he did not.
No, he worked for Marvel or Timely Comics, actually.
Yeah, he worked for Marvel. Well, he did. Well, then he went and worked for DC because
when you acquire a company, you don't inherit its history.
No, you do not.
No.
They seem to have a hard time grasping that now.
Yeah. Oh, damn. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it for today. We done hit the 2-hour mark. So it is about time to wrap this one up. So we're going to get out of here for the Geek Chat for today. Honda's got his chat later tonight for the weekend shitstorm.
Yeah.
Is here in what, about 2 hours, give or take?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I haven't set it up yet, so 2 hours sounds good. I got to get some dinner and stuff in me. So
okay,
we got to do something else. We definitely got to do something else.
Well, we'll play some Left 4 Dead or something.
Yeah, buddy.
Getting all hard thinking about that shit. But anyway, we're going to end the chat for today. So thank you guys for showing up and sticking around. We'll see you guys on Honda's chat in a couple hours. We'll be back here on we'll be back on Never Enough Ammo on Monday night for the Guns Geeks podcast, and then I think with the Geek Fusion channel, I think I've got a video to upload tomorrow. I've got like fucking 30 videos that I haven't uploaded yet. So I've got a lot of content. I'm trying to just upload like one video like 4 times a week.
I keep getting sidetracked doing customs, working on my custom figures instead of making content.
Yeah. I had so much. I sat here and I had done a bunch of videos when I first started doing the channel for the first couple months, and then like throughout July and beginning of August, first half of August, I like had so many things that I just never took out of the box and was piling up on my table, and then little customs like that Professor X and things like that I wanted to do videos on. And then so like the last 2 weeks, I've just started like fucking making everything. I've like spent all my time getting those videos made and edited and everything. And so now I've got like a surplus of like 30 videos on the channel that I'm just trying to like upload little at a time. But
I need to sit down and do a lot of content where I can do that myself.
I was just getting tired of looking at boxes that I hadn't opened yet.
I feel you. I'm staring at a mountain of them myself.
Yeah, I was just like, fuck, because I am an opener. I don't like leaving my shit in box.
I got the Mayfix Nightfall John Pollock Batman still sitting in the box.
Fucking sweet.
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, I had so many. I'm good now. I don't have anything left to do, but anyway.
I start fixing Marvel Legends Vulcan because the paint was the cut it had like 3 shades of red on it. It's like supposed to be 1. Then I got looking on the back, had like glue spilt on the back. I had to like sand that off.
Jesus.
And they keep raising the prices on these things.
Oh yeah. Well, I went and canceled a whole bunch of pre-orders for Marvel Legends because I'm like, there's just the prices are going up and they're not adding any value. So
totally agree. It's
yeah.
You're not getting better quality control. Actually, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I got the Renew Your Vows 2-pack. I took Spinner Red out, and her upper torso was just twisted. It was like, luckily I was able to fix it with hot water, but it was mangled. It looked like it was melted.
I haven't even got mine yet, so we'll see when it shows up. But
all
right, guys, we will see you guys. What?
No window boxes. You can't check them no more.
Hasta mañana.
So we'll see you guys later. Have fun. We'll see you guys over in Honda's chat, and that's it. We're out, guys. Later.
Later, everyone.
Shall not be infringed.